I never expected fireworks from marriage. I expected respect, partnership, and the quiet loyalty that comes from choosing the same person every day. I'm Callum, 42, married to Eleanor for 11 years. Or married in name, at least, until the night her company held its annual gala and she asked me to pretend we were just friends. Not joking, not whispering, just flat, casual, like she was asking me to pass the salt. We were in the hotel room getting ready. She was adjusting her earrings in the mirror, barely looking at me. I laughed at first, waiting for the punchline. It never came. She said it again, slower. Just for tonight. It's easier. That's when something inside me tightened. I didn't argue. I didn't ask why. I just nodded. Because when someone asks you to erase yourself, they've already made the decision. The ballroom was loud, polished, expensive. Crystal lights, open bar, forced laughter. Eleanor walked ahead of me like I wasn't there. Not angry, not rushed, just separate. When we checked in, she introduced me to her colleagues as Callum, no last name, no husband label. I watched their eyes flick from her to me, confused for half a second, then adjusted. I was nobody. I told myself it was one night. A small compromise. That's what you tell yourself when you're used to swallowing things. We found our table. She sat down next to her manager, close enough that their arms brushed. I hesitated, then chose the seat beside her. If I was supposed to be her friend, I'd sit like one. Not possessive, not distant, just present. The conversation flowed around me. Inside jokes from work, stories I wasn't part of. Eleanor laughed. Really laughed. The kind I hadn't heard in years. Every time she laughed, something else slipped loose inside my chest. At one point, a coworker asked how we knew each other. Eleanor answered before I could. Oh, we go way back. Old friends. She smiled when she said it. I smiled too. Reflex. Survival. I spent the rest of dinner nodding, sipping water, watching the woman I married perform a version of herself that didn't include me. I thought about the early years, when she used to reach for my hand in public like she was afraid I'd disappear, when she'd brag about me to anyone who'd listen. Somewhere along the line, I became inconvenient. Not bad, not abusive, just embarrassing. The kind of man who didn't fit the image she needed at work. After dinner, the music started. People danced. Eleanor stood, smoothing her dress. She leaned in and said she was going to mingle. Didn't ask if I wanted to join. Didn't look back when she walked away. I stayed seated, watching couples move together, noticing how many small gestures meant everything. Hands on backs, fingers laced, things that look ordinary until they're gone. A woman from accounting sat across from me and asked if I was enjoying myself. I told her it was enlightening. She laughed, not understanding. That was fine. I didn't need to explain. The night wasn't about confrontation. It was about clarity. When Eleanor came back, it was near the end. She looked flushed, energized. She asked if I was ready to go. I said yes. In the car, silence filled the space between us. Not tense, just final. Halfway home, she said thanks for being cool tonight. I asked what she meant. She said not making things awkward. I nodded, because correcting her would have been pointless. At home, she went straight to bed. I stayed up, sitting at the kitchen table, staring at nothing. I realized something simple and brutal. A marriage doesn't end when someone cheats. It ends when one person decides the other no longer belongs beside them in public, when being seen together feels like a liability. The next morning, I made coffee like always. Eleanor came in, phone already in hand. I told her I'd slept on the couch. She said okay. That was it. No concern. No question. I asked her one thing. When did I become someone you need distance from? She sighed, like I was exhausting. She said she didn't mean it like that. She said work is complicated. I said marriage isn't supposed to be. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse her. I just told her I wouldn't pretend again. Not friends. Not strangers. Not ghosts. If she wanted a life where I didn't exist beside her, she could have it without me in the house. She looked shocked, like consequences had arrived without warning. I packed slowly, deliberately, not out of anger, out of respect for myself. She stood in the doorway, arms crossed, asking if I was being dramatic. I told her no. I was being honest. I left that afternoon, drove until the city thinned out, pulled over once, not to cry, just to breathe. It's strange how peace feels heavy at first, like you don't trust it. People think relationships end with explosions. Sometimes they end with a sentence said too easily. Just pretend we're friends. That sentence told me everything I needed to know. I didn't leave because I stopped loving her. I left because loving myself finally mattered more than being tolerated. And for the first time in years, sitting alone felt better than sitting beside someone who wished I wasn't there.